please. Here we go. Wow. Was it a classic radio type entrance? What's that called in the radio business?
We're getting funky with it.
An intro, bump in. Welcome into Sportswrap Overtime, March 25th, 2025. Another episode here of the show as we continue to break in the new wavy digital studio. I'm Craig Loper. Brian Parsons is here to my left. Stephanie Cook is on the board in the back today, and she is not going to be talking today. She's just helping us out, and as she is sort of the maestro behind this whole digital studio, so we appreciate her. So
she can talk if she wants to.
She can
if she wants to chime in. We are more than willing to listen to Stephanie.
We know she can talk about Carolina. You want to talk Carolinas at times, and I can't remember your pro team. I guess the Browns, since Marcus plays for them.
Duran.
Right. There we go. Yeah, and some music stuff.
She can talk about Duran.
Let's get into some college basketball. Lots been happening since our last show.
My goodness.
We are in the midst of March. Coaching carousel spinning, and you see the lower Brian. Larry Vickers, Norfolk State women's basketball coach for the past decade, is on his way to the plains of Auburn.
Auburn, SEC. Now, when this came out, I think James had sent a group text out the day before it happened. Now, what are your thoughts? And when you see Larry Vickers, a guy that we're very close with, that we've covered very closely, especially the last 3 years, and now they've been very successful.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you saw that his name was in the running for Auburn, SEC?
My first thought was on our previous Sportswrap OT episode, I literally said, we talked about his situation. Does he get another look? What's his contract situation like? He deserves probably a look from a P4 program at this point. So that was my first thought. My second thought was awesome for him, man. Wow. Larry Vickers, great guy to us in the media, great leader of young women, just a stand-up guy. And so super excited for him, and what an opportunity to go to a SEC program that is cutting a check. And anytime you get a huge pay raise, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I think the numbers that we saw were $575,000 per season.
Base salary.
And that's probably a guaranteed contract, for 5 years, no matter what happens.
Right.
But I think Larry has a very interesting backstory for the people that don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Vickers went to Ocean Lakes High School in Virginia Beach, and he didn't even play on the basketball team.
Right.
Okay, he's 6'9".
He's like 6'9", yeah.
So he goes to Norfolk State, and he gets seen playing
as
basketball.
An engineering major.
Just playing a pickup basketball game, and I guess somebody on the team said, "Hey, man, we could use you as a walk-on."
Yeah.
He walks on. He ends up being the most improved player on the team.
Right.
Team captain.
Yeah.
Gets a job as an assistant coach on the men's team under Anthony Evans, and Robert Jones was on that staff as well. And then we have to give credit to the then athletic director, Marty Miller.
Right.
The women's team was 0-19. This is when Vickers was still an assistant coach for the men during the season. So Marty Miller lets the women's basketball coach go and goes to the men's staff and says, "Larry, what do you think about giving this a shot? We need you to lead these young women." And he hasn't looked back since. And he's parlayed that into the full-time job, 3-time MEAC Coach of the Year, and now the head coach at Auburn. He's going to be going up against Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley.
Unbelievable.
Not Maryland Eastern Shore and Coppin State anymore.
Right. Yeah. Look, I mean, here he is. Brian said it. He's just, you walk by him. He's a huge guy, but he's soft-spoken, but he's also an intense competitor. We've had a lot of fun covering him, and you see the shot of him getting introduced there at Auburn. What a jump. What an opportunity. Like you said, salary-wise for his family. He's got a young family. Got off the plane. I think one of his babies is probably under at least 5 years old. So this is just a great, I think, in big picture, a statement. Something you don't see here often is a coach at a mid-major program, specifically in HBCU, make this kind of jump. I mean, this is rare territory. And Brian, you would know better than me if anything like this has happened, on the women's or the men's side. It just doesn't happen often.
Very few times. I know Steve Murfeld was the head coach at Hampton University after they beat Iowa State back then, and he left Hampton to take a job at Evansville. I mean, I guess that's a step up, but not that much of a step up.
Yeah.
Anthony Evans left Norfolk State 1 year after NSU beat Missouri on the men's side, and he left Norfolk State for the job at FIU, Florida International.
This is a different jump. This is a different monster.
We're talking the big leagues.
Yeah. I've been to Auburn. I spent a weekend in Auburn. I was covering an LSU Auburn football game, and it's what you'd expect, man. It's SEC college town. There's like one strip of campus, one strip of campus that everybody hangs out at. That's where all the bars and restaurants are. And I went out there and I interviewed people and about the LSU game coming up. So great college town.
Is that Toomer's Corner? Is that where
Yep.
the trees were?
And
where
you know what? I'm
yeah.
so disappointed. I didn't go to Toomer's Corner those few days that I was there. I just kind of stayed in the main little area and not like the heart of campus. But yeah, they roll the trees for, I think, football games. I don't know if they do it for, and then their men's basketball team is rolling. So Vickers, when the men's team has that momentum too, you hope through osmosis it kind of rolls over to the women's team as well.
Isn't it wild that Larry Vickers is walking down the hallway and Bruce, hey Bruce Pearl,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And like I was saying yesterday too, like the whole Larry Vickers thing is so amazing to me. Like, what if imagine Larry Vickers at Ocean Lakes High School, not even playing high school basketball,
Right.
and the future comes to speak to you, and the future says, Mr. Vickers, in 20 years, you're going to be the head coach of the Auburn women's basketball team, making nearly $600,000 a year. Poof,
Yeah,
you're thinking like, wow, could that really happen?
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing story. Now, the good and the bad here. Now,
Yeah.
Norfolk State. So Norfolk State's now in search for a new coach.
Right.
They're also going to be in search for maybe a new roster because already we have Debria Clark, one of their top players, has entered the transfer portal.
Yep.
And here's one.
Shooter.
Kira Wheeler
Yeah.
is in the transfer portal. And we
Okay.
thought she was a senior, and
She got another year.
she's got that JUCO year back.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
She had a JUCO year, and she gets that back. So she's in the portal.
Okay.
Don't be shocked
Yeah.
if Debria Clark and Kira
Wheeler.
Mimi Wheeler end up with Larry in Auburn.
It would make
'Cause I
sense.
think you need those players to kind of help establish your culture down there, people that know the way and kind of help the other girls
Yeah.
kind of
understand.
Exactly.
Be the liaison in a way. And we've seen it in recent years. Kurt Signetti, right? JMU to Indiana. He took like 7-8 players and he took a bunch of coaches.
Well, look at Drake.
Yeah,
Drake, the
right.
head coach, was a Division II guy. Goes to Drake, brings 4 of his Division II players,
Unbelievable.
and they win a game of the NCAA tournament. Now he's the head coach at Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah.
After 1 year at Drake.
Yeah. This transfer
and
portal.
I love that the Western Kentucky example too with Bailey Zappi and
Right.
the Houston Christian guys that were FCS and came over and they set all these records. So
Passing records. Yeah. No, it's impressive. And the transfer portal is wide open right now. It's kind of going crazy. It's hard to keep up with, but the days of like a college coach getting in and like, oh, it's going to take us 3 years to rebuild this program and recruit a bunch of high school kids. Like those days are long gone. Like it's like 1 year turnaround.
Yeah,
now,
it really, I mean,
you know?
I've been on verbal commits on Twitter, which is this
Yeah.
ongoing Twitter page on everybody that's transferring, and
Yeah.
it's somebody asked me who's in the portal. I said everybody
Who's not in the
who's not
portal
in the
is the
not in the
true
portal.
question.
Now, Melody Webb, the athletic director at Norfolk State, made an amazing hire with Michael Vick.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, right?
Right.
Well, now she's got her work cut out for him. She's going to have to replace Larry Vickers. And one of the things I'm worried about, like
Yeah.
when Kenny Brooks went from James Madison
Right.
to Virginia
Virginia
Tech,
Tech to
women's
Kentucky,
basketball,
right.
and he was fantastic. Did they go to the Final Four, Virginia Tech?
Yes. Yeah. 2 years ago.
So he goes to Kentucky and he brings a lot of the players from Tech with him to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then Tech, man, went off of a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And they lost Elizabeth Kitley too. You know,
And-
she was a
and
senior.
Georgia A.
And
Moore.
Georgia A. Moore. Those two. I mean, basketball. You lose 2 key players. It's tough. It's really tough.
So the new person coming in is going may have to reestablish a new culture.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, Diamond, 2-time MEAC Player of the Year, obviously, and then Kiera, and like you
Wheeler,
said, Debria
man.
Clark, Anjanae Richardson.
I mean, she could.
They
I
got
don't
a-
know that she is, but I would not be shocked if she was in the portal.
A lot of production to replace. So you hope that winning culture sort of stays, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough if they fall on a down season. No one will be surprised. But this is about Coach Vickers. Congrats to him and what he's doing. We'll definitely be up to date and follow what he's doing next year. We'll have to see those players he gets. So moving on to our next topic here. We're going to take a break. I guess.
Larry's. I was reading something where Larry's father, who's at all the games, of course. And
Yeah, I've talked to him, yep.
Yeah, and apparently he doesn't fly.
Okay.
So what are he was? Oh no, Larry said that in the press conference.
Yeah.
He said my dad doesn't fly, so gonna have to figure something out how to get him down here to the game.
I don't know what that drive time would be. You could do it though.
Or do you move him down there during the season?
I don't know. Larry Vickers' father, like 30 years in the Navy or the military. I don't know what branch, but yeah, crazy. So anyway, all right, we're going to take a break here on Sports Wrap Overtime. We'll be right back with more basketball talk. And we are back. Sports Wrap Overtime as we continue our college basketball discussion on Tuesday. March 25th, 2025. Craig Loper, Brian Parsons here in studio. All right, you see the lower third. UVA men's basketball program has a new coach. It is Ryan Odom. Comes to the Cavaliers after 2 seasons at VCU. This was a hire pretty much you were all over from the beginning. Like we kind of, I don't know, it was an obvious, I guess, one, you know.
It felt with the family tradition that
Yeah.
Odom has with the UVA program.
Right.
And he, he went from UMBC to Utah State for a couple of years and
Yeah.
VCU for 2 years. He was obviously a guy on the fast track. It looks like it's Tony Bennett's brother, actually.
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
hired as
He
head
definitely,
coach.
some of the mannerisms and definitely it's the hair, I think.
But
Jeff Jones right there. He's shaking Jeff Jones' hand.
He worked with Jeff Jones under Terry Holland at UVA. Ryan Odom had nothing but success, and the irony of the fact that he was the head coach of the UMBC team, the
Retrievers.
the first 16 seed to beat a 1 seed in UVA, and not only did they defeat UVA, as I've often said, they ran them out of the gym. It was a 20-point win.
Yeah, shot the lights out that day.
And he's obviously a coach that's been on the fast track. His father, Dave Odom, was an assistant under Terry Holland and Jeff Jones. Actually, Ryan was a ball boy, right?
Yeah,
Was that what was going on?
1982 to 1989, Ryan Odom lived in Charlottesville. I think it was whatever that 3rd through 9th grade or something, 3rd through 10th grade or something like that. And he said he was a ball boy, and he was close with Jeff Jones, and that place is where he kind of fell in love with basketball. As he said at his
Charlottesville is in his blood,
literally.
And Dave Odom, very successful as assistant coach, and Dave Odom also was the head coach at Wake Forest. He was Tim Duncan's head coach.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Back-to-back ACC championships.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Dave Odom was a very successful head coach.
I did not realize
And there was always
that.
talk, there was always rumors that maybe Dave would come to UVA, come back to UVA, come back home.
Yeah.
And he never did, but
Okay.
his son did.
Yeah, that's how it works sometimes, right? And the thing that I want to get into here, obviously, is the VCU program. And I don't want to call it a stepping stone, but in a way, it has been for a crazy run of coaches, Brian. When you said it in the office the other day, I mean, the names you put up, the VCU to a P4 program.
Every one of them.
Every single one in the last. Go ahead and name them off.
Jeff Capel went to Oklahoma.
Yep.
Anthony Grant went to Alabama. Shaka Smart
To Texas.
went to Texas.
Yeah. Will Wade.
Will Wade went to LSU. Mike Rhodes went to Penn State. And now Ryan Odom goes to UVA.
That run over, what is that, 15 to 20 years, I'm guessing, something like that?
And this job, it pays.
And it pays.
It pays. But it doesn't pay UVA money.
No, right.
But it pays more than Old Dominion money.
Yeah.
For example, Ryan Odom was making $1.8 million
At VCU.
at VCU.
Yeah.
And they offered him more money to stay.
Yeah.
But you can't turn down that. Who you looked up to UVA? Was it 4.5 million?
I thought we said 5 something.
Almost 5.
I think it was like 5.2. I
So
thought.
I mean, you kind of got to take it, you know.
Yeah,
And it's a job that he's coveted, so it's a win-win for him.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, but the way that VCU program stays relevant through all these coaches is crazy. And antidote here is obviously VCU doesn't have a men's football program, right? So they have the ability. They put a lot of resources and effort into their men's basketball program, and it's a proud tradition that has been for a while now. So that's the difference. In terms of the state of the UVA team he's going into, lots of questions, right? They had a down year. Tony Bennett he retired, I mean, kind of late, in the process, like right before the season.
It was like a week before the season started.
Crazy. So you think that affected the guys?
Yes.
And it was at a bad spot. So they had a down year, but they're not that far removed from the national championship. It is still a major brand in college basketball in the ACC. In terms of the situation he's stepping into, what do you think of it?
Well, I think what he's going to have to do is the UVA is going to have to make a commitment to the NIL because that's where we are now.
Right.
And I don't think he would have taken the job if there wasn't a commitment to do that.
Right.
It's the Tony Bennett situation, man. He just said he'd had enough. He didn't want to deal with this in college basketball, much like Jim Larinaga didn't want to, and Jay Wright didn't want to, and Coach K didn't want to, and Roy Williams didn't want to, and Jim Boeheim didn't want to.
Yeah.
A lot of these classic guys are stepping away. I still don't rule out Tony Bennett going to the NBA. I don't rule it out. I don't rule it out.
Is he doing any broadcast analyst stuff? No, I haven't seen him on anything.
Maybe still collecting some UVA money.
Yeah,
but he retired, so he probably gave that up.
Yeah. And then the team stylistically, what are they getting? Under Tony Bennett, it was slow, 40, 50 points a game late into the shot clock. How does Ryan Odom make that adjustment?
Well, I think what Ryan Odom does is he has proven at all of his stops that he's not a one-trick pony, and he will adjust to what he's got.
Okay.
He doesn't have a style that he's committed to.
Right.
He can do havoc if he wants to, or whatever. I mean, I think they got a long way to go there at UVA. I mean, they was kind of rock bottom. There was a time where they were wondering if they were even going to make the ACC tournament.
Yeah. Speaking of the ACC tournament, the ACC just, I mean, these things are cyclical and it's kind of one-offs, I guess you could probably say in this year. Like Duke is the only team left in the NCAA tournament this year from the ACC, which is crazy to say. It's like the first time in 50 years that's happened. I think the stat that I saw on the game the other day. So it's. I don't think anyone expects this moving forward. A lot of the national talking heads have been talking about the SEC and the NIL, and it's kind of like that's what happened. But you'd imagine the ACC is going to come back around. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
And UVA has a very proud tradition dating back to the Terry Holland days.
Literally.
And one thing I want to say about Terry Holland.
Yeah.
I've got a top 5.
Okay.
All right. I've got a top 5 of the nicest gentlemen in sports that I've covered, that I've met,
that you've met, had some interaction with,
that are in more than once overall the nicest people I've ever met. Okay, we're gonna go. Number 5 is former Hampton University football coach Joe Taylor.
Okay,
was an unbelievable gentleman.
Yeah,
my goodness, I loved him so much. He left to become the head coach of Florida A&M.
Yeah,
I've got Terry Holland.
Okay,
the former UVA head coach, was just an absolute gentleman. Former William & Mary head coach Tony Shaver.
Yep.
You've heard me say that a million times.
Right.
Who else do we have here? We have Tony Shaver. Former Virginia Tech football coach Frank Beamer.
Yeah.
Was unbelievably.
You can see that through his interviews. I never met him, but.
And my number 1 nicest person in sports, the late great Paul Webb, former Old Dominion basketball coach.
Legend for sure. Yeah.
So we got Frank Beamer, Joe Taylor, Tony Shaver.
Yeah.
Terry Holland.
Yeah.
Paul Webb.
Yeah. No, it's a good list.
That's my Mount Rushmore +1 of nicest guys in sports.
Yeah. Us, and for any viewers watching, like with what we do for a living, we are constantly around coaches and players. And just to be honest, some coaches give you great vibes and they're just good people and they're genuine and they're transparent, but they're fun on a camera, off camera. And then some coaches aren't. Some coaches are kind of like, to be around are just kind of a pain in the butt, So
I tell you an interesting thing, former VCU coach, that it's been unanimous. Every person I've talked to in the media that has ever covered Will Wade has said he's just a quality dude.
Transparent.
And you covered him at LSU.
Honest, fun, interactive, engaging with the media, knows your name, have his cell phone number, will be responsive, like unbelievable. Will Wade's great cover, who is now the head coach at NC State. So between Ryan Odom and Will Wade now in the ACC, and then Duke, Carolina, they're always top of the cream of the crop.
And
what a conference!
I know Miami has a new hire, Florida State. I mean, Miami's always a bubbling, sleeping giant.
Right.
Yeah. Is that our cue?
That is our cue. All right, topic timer just ran out. We are coming back with more Sportswrap OT after this. And we are back. Final topic here on the Sportswrap Overtime, March 25th, 2025. Craig Loper, Brian Parsons. Just general NCAA basketball tournament stuff. We're going to get into it. We are entering Sweet 16 weekend. So 16 teams remaining on the men's side, competing for it all to win a national championship. Some intriguing matchups that I'm looking forward to, Brian. Duke, Arizona is probably the marquee one, I guess.
Yeah, that's a big one. But one of the things about this year's Sweet 16 is we're talking, it's all chalk, baby.
All chalk. Yeah, people have been talking about that, right? They say I was watching some ESPN stuff this morning. They say the Cinderella teams are over. NIL has ruined it all. The transfer portal has ruined it all. And I'm not full-fledged. That is my vote, but there's probably some truth to that. In the last few years, we've seen it sort of play out.
I mean, if you're the casual fan that likes to root for the St. Francis's or the St. Peter's or even
Peter's, oh my gosh,
Loyola Chicago and all of that, and those teams and VCU, and those teams aren't around.
Went to the Elite Eight last year.
FAU, what in the world?
In the Final Four.
FAU was and Dusty May is now the head coach at Michigan.
Crazy,
and they're still playing.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting debate or topic to have. Yeah, Auburn is in it. Duke. I mean. BYU, Alabama is an intriguing matchup. Michigan State, Ole Miss. A lot to look forward to here as these games. Florida looks like they could be. They're saying Florida might take it all. So
I'm far from an expert, but I have two brackets, and one of my brackets I have Duke winning it all, and the other I have Houston winning it all.
Okay,
I've always said all season long, the team that just watching that I saw, and I just said this is the best team I've seen. I've said Houston all year long.
You said that months ago in the office because you watched one of the games the night you came back. You're like, their continuity, the way they play, the way they move the ball.
Their defense.
Kelvin Sansom has them going, huh?
Relentless. So here's our dark horse left.
Okay.
But
Arkansas?
it's not much of a dark horse.
No.
You're 10 seed Arkansas with John Calipari.
Yeah, leading the way, huh?
But look at what he did.
They say that job has re-energized him. That's kind of what I think Seth Greenberg said it on some show I was watching. They said that job is re-energized. It's not like he left Kentucky. It was just like, in Kentucky left him necessarily. It was just like he needed a jolt of energy, and maybe he's finding that.
It's kind of like when Andy Reid left the Eagles.
Right. You need something.
It's like, hey, thanks for what you've done, but we both need a restart.
Yeah.
A reset.
Yeah. And where is Kentucky even at here? Oh, they're taking on Tennessee. We got the bracket here in front of us. That's why we're looking down here.
Big, wow. Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah, it's big.
Now,
big, look at these names. These brand names are crazy.
And the thing that always that struck me about Tennessee and head coach Rick Barnes, I mean, is he the best head coach to not win a national championship?
Currently.
I would think so.
Okay. All
right?
Yeah. I think so.
Look at his resume.
Yeah. Okay.
All he's done is win wherever he's gone. Clemson, he won.
Yep.
He won at Texas.
Yeah, Texas is how I think of him.
And they ran, and he's got Virginia connections too.
Okay.
Rick Barnes does.
Yeah, so Sweet 16 weekend, like you said, man, all chalk, which is crazy. Not a single team you were like, oh my gosh, what was it, 2 years ago, Oakland or something?
There's not even
like the Sweet 16.
There's not even a Big East team.
Crazy. Yeah, UConn lost to who'd they lose to? I forgot who they just lost to. But yeah, Dan Hurley was all out of shape about that.
When did he become an unlikable guy? Has he always been that way, or is it just starting to come out now? I don't know what's going on there. They lost to Florida.
I don't know. They lost to Florida. Thank you. I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting stuff. I think the UConn people love him. I think
of course
everybody else is sort of mixed reviews with his sort of temper tantrums as a grown man. I appreciate the passion. I just think there's a way you could go about delivering it differently. And then anytime coaches start complaining about the refs, the video that went viral this week, millions of views, like that's a bad look. Like don't be complaining about the refs.
How would he be acting if he was with the Lakers?
Oh my gosh!
And pulling stunts like that.
Forgot that almost happened. Lakers lost 3 in a row. Actually, Luka 30 points a game. They're losing on a bad stretch right now.
Is LeBron back?
No, LeBron is is he back? I think he did. I was getting ready this morning and I missed it. That's actually a great question because I think he was in the box score last night. These games, do we have the sites of these games? Are they all, where are
they don't have them on there.
They don't?
I don't know where they are.
The regions, I don't know the regions either. If we want to talk about the women real quick, since we're on the NCAA basketball tournament, Isaiah James at NC State, local Princess Anne, former star. She has the Wolfpack in another Sweet 16. She had like 26 points in her last game.
6 3-pointers.
6 3-pointers.
And their reward is Kale Mulkey and the mighty LSU Tigers.
Yeah, that's.
But hey, look, so when you get to this point, they're all good.
Everybody's good. And then the big news on the women's side is Juju Watkins goes down with the torn ACL. Man, that was rough. You knew it right away when you saw it. Right knee buckled. That was tough to see. Her reaction. She was grimacing in pain. She's a superstar, man. Like she has. I looked up the other day. She's in like a Gatorade commercial. She's in a Nike commercial. She's like a brand already as like a 20-year-old at USC.
A shame.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. So, but we're in the midst of it. Like I said, March, a couple weeks left in the tournament. It all goes pretty quick. South Carolina on the women's side, dominant as always. Fully expect them to be in Tampa this year as the women's game. So that is our women's Final Four, I should say. That is our cue to wrap. This has been Sportswrap Overtime. Hope you'd enjoy it and share with your family and friends. And we'll see you next week.